If you are a commissioned notary public for the state of South Dakota and you typically drive to your local polling place to vote on November 5th, you may not be aware of what's going on around you. My name is Michelle Riley. I am a commissioned Alabama notary public and Alabama notary instructor. And the only reason why my video came across your feed or your For You page is because this video is going to talk about the notary public's role when it comes to voting absentee or by way of a mail-in ballot. This is a method of voting that traditionally requires a notary or a witness to play a role. And so for the past few weeks, I have been making videos about specific states that still have that requirement. And South Dakota is one of those states. Just want to share with you what your role as the notary is, and also provide you with some resources so that if you receive a call from a South Dakota voter who needs your assistance, you'll know what to do. And if you're unsure, you'll know who to call. Before I go any further, though, I think it would be helpful if I shared my screen. The first site I'd like to bring to your attention is the South Dakota Secretary of State's website. It is the page dealing with elections and voting. I'll be sure to include this link in the video description so that you can get back to this page. And here is where they outline the absentee voting process. And in short, absentee voting is a way for voters to cast their ballot without having to physically go to the polling station on November 5th, like the majority of voters do. And so again, you'll find instructions here on the process. There was one thing I wanted to call out here. So again, you may want to bookmark this. The next thing I want to pull up is the absentee ballot application, because in order for someone to vote in this manner, they will need to get permission from their state. When you click that link, I'm going to give it a chance to feed over. Good, it's there. It will bring you to this page here. And I'm going to enlarge that just a little bit more. This is the actual, allergies are kicking up today, application form that the voter completes asking for permission to vote by mail instead of coming into the polling station. As far as a notary is concerned, you should not need to help anyone out in filling out this form. Notice there is a section for only those individuals, those voters who are military and or living overseas. But this box here, section 7, this is where you, the voter, you, the notary public, may need to help out. The voter has the choice of filling out this entire form and not signing until they make the choice. They can either make a photocopy of their ID, and here it lists the type of ID that they can use: driver's license, non-driver ID, also referred to as state ID, a passport or other U.S. government ID, photo ID, a current student photo ID issued by a South Dakota high school or post-secondary institution, education institution. And so if the voter chooses to include a photocopy of their ID, they would sign this form, fill out everything, and mail it in. I'll show you where they mail it to in a moment. But if they do not want to make a copy of their ID and send it in, they have the choice of contacting you perhaps as a South Dakota Notary Public, and you would watch them sign their name. You're going to verify their ID as you would for any other traditional notarization. And then you're going to administer an oath. That's where you swear them in or administer the oath, asking them to swear that the information they've provided on this application is true. And then you, the notary, would complete this section. This is the notary certificate section where you are going to check the box, insert the date that you're meeting with the voter, sign your name, add your commission expiration date, and then if I were you, I would apply your official seal here in this space here. There will probably be some overlap, so try not to overlap here and try not to overlap your information here. Keep in mind that the date that the voter signs this form, it needs to match the date here. They must be the same. And then the voter continues with returning this document into the right parties. And in South Dakota, it's the county auditors. So I'm going to go back here for a moment. The voter completes everything and then prints it. You should ask them to go ahead and print 2 copies just in case a mistake is made. When you arrive to meet with the signer, you're going to fill your section in by hand with a pen, okay? And again, once this is done, once you've notarized it, you've had them sign your journal, you are going to, if they ask you, let them know where to turn it in. They're going to have that information anyway. It comes to them in the mail. But if you have a question about the absentee voting process, you would go to the county auditor's page for South Dakota. I'll include this URL in the description, and it has the name of the county auditor, the mailing address, a phone number, a fax number, and then a method to email them. Again, there's one for each state. I did not see any information about charging fees. However, many states forbid notaries from charging a notarization fee for this type of notarization. I know in the state of Alabama, the code does not state we can't charge the notary fee, but I strongly recommend to Alabama notaries that they do not do that. Why should anyone have to pay to cast a vote? But if you want to charge a fee and you have questions about that, then it would be a good idea for you to double check with the auditor for your county. The last thing I want to show you is the AARP does have a helpful website on voting absentee and mail-in. I did not see much information at all that is specific to notarizing the application. So remember, this form is simply telling the county auditor that the voter wants to have a ballot mailed to them so that they can fill in the bubbles and then mail it back, the bubbles on the ballot sheet, voting for who they want for president, senators, any other office that is up for re-election, and any constitutional amendments. I did not see any information to suggest that when the ballot comes, that there will be a separate affidavit that needs to be notarized. But I don't know enough about South Dakota's process to say that definitively, but I did look closely, and I didn't see any mention of that. As a commissioned Alabama notary public, it is our responsibility to stay up to date on important documents and how they are to be handled and notarized by us. I really feel that's our obligation in fulfilling our role. And so I want to encourage you to always check with the proper authorities at your state, ask questions, network with notaries in your state, share this information. And to that end, I'm not sharing my screen, but I want to encourage you, if you are having difficulties networking with other South Dakota notaries, if you use Facebook, I am one of several admins for a Facebook group called Notary and Notary Signing Agents. Let me make sure I got that right. I got part of it right, but I think there's a little more to that name. Feel free to join us. It is Notary and Signing Agent Network. Notary and Signing Agent Network. Believe it or not, we have almost 35,000 members in that Facebook group. And I know for sure we have some members from South Dakota. It is a great place for you to ask questions by posting your questions and get answers from others in your state. So I look forward to seeing you online. I hope this information was helpful to you, especially if you are a newer notary and this will be the first time that you are being asked to perform this type of notarization. If you haven't had formal training, you may not even know how to administer an oath to someone. You're going to need to get some training for that. Or again, come to the Facebook group and you'll get some input there as well. But don't shy away from formal training that is specific to your state. It wasn't until I got that type of training that I became more confident in my role as a commissioned Alabama notary public. The National Notary Association also has some valuable resources, so consider joining that association and becoming a member and registering for some of their training. I appreciate you tuning in. Let me know in the comments if you found this information helpful. And there will be times when I will post other non-Alabama information or information that applies to notaries in other states. So go ahead, subscribe to the channel, and make today a great one. Thanks again for tuning in.